Hey guys, today on Rich with Cars, I bring you 2022 Tesla Model S Plaid. I've been waiting a long time to actually review this car just because of its specs and its craziness in general. It's actually the fastest production car in the world of 0 to 60 miles per hour. And I mean, what else can you actually ask for? So anyways, I'm gonna go on a quick overview of the exterior, interior, cargo volume, and I guess some of the driving impressions based on the restricted driving that I've actually gone through. But I'll give you guys my take on that. So strap in, let's take a look. Tesla went through a redesign in 2021 on the Model S. They also released in 2021 the Plaid. It's basically, let's just say, the fastest vehicle in the world in terms of production models. And it's been getting a lot of popularity just because of its crazy specs. In terms of changes, I'm not very familiar with the Model S. In general, this is my first ever Model S that I've actually gotten a chance to go inside and take a ride in and be able to drive. But some of the notable changes are these standard on the Plaid, but it's optional on some other Model S trims. Arachnid wheels, which are basically 21-inch wheels, as well as headlight design, front bumper design with the front fog lights as well, taillight design alongside with the rear lower bumper and diffuser as well. In terms of exterior design, the Model S is plain in my opinion, but of course the design was actually led for its aerodynamic. Most of the design was actually based on having a very low coefficient of drag, considering the fact that this is an EV. So starting off with the front, we have these new Model S headlights that basically have the LEDs integrated into them. And you have your daytime running light over here, which will give it its character for a Model S. Moving further below, you have the fog lights over here alongside with an air curtain for aerodynamics as well, that basically allow the air to travel around the wheels. And this new design I really like a lot because it basically keeps the whole front portion of the Model S quite flat and plain. You have the Tesla badging here in the front with some additional venting here at the bottom. Not much in terms of character lines on the hood. You have these two lines over here on each side of the hood, but pretty clean design. Onto the side, you have, like I mentioned before, these Arachnid wheels, which I actually like quite a bit. They're basically a satin black and they're 21-inch in size. I believe that the wheels are the same size in both the front and the rear. And the rear, you also have 21-inch. All the Model S's, I believe, now come standard with this black trim that goes on the front camera, the window trim, and the actual door handles as well. I personally love the fact that they actually did that. It gives a much sportier look, which I believe that the Model S should follow. I actually like the side view mirrors as well quite a bit. You have these side view mirrors with the actual black trim as well. Model S has very clean character lines on the side of the vehicle. You have this character line that basically follows from the front all the way till here. And then you have another one that starts on the middle of the side that follows to the rear, and then you have another character line that accentuates the shoulder line over here. Pretty clean. And then you have like another one basically at the bottom over there. Finally, moving on to the rear, we have the new taillight design, which is not that different from the previous one. And on the Plaid, it comes standard with this carbon fiber lip spoiler. Continuing on with the black trim, I like how they basically integrated this black trim over here and maintaining that sporty design, and of course have the Plaid badging over there. Towards the lower portion of the actual rear, you have the new rear bumper design with gloss black as well. Onto the interior now. We're gonna start off as always with the door cards and then moving on towards the interior. I'm not so sure how I feel towards the choice of materials, but what ended up happening, since I'm not very familiar with Tesla from before, apparently Tesla upped their game and basically put more luxurious materials for the inside. So the interior now actually feels a little bit more luxurious as opposed to the way that it was before. So here you have some soft touch materials. I believe that this is leather or probably a synthetic leather. And then you have your window controls over here. Something that it took a little time for me to get used to is the door release button. Of course, you don't have any sort of manual release. You do have an electric door release, which is this over here. You put your finger on it and it basically opens the door. It's a flat panel over here. There's no button or anything. And then finally you have a bit of carbon fiber trim over there. The other really cool thing that makes this car very, very sporty are frameless doors as well. These seats that come on the Plaid are 12-way power seats, as you can see over here. And you can probably control it also from the middle infotainment screen. To be honest, I'm not gonna go too much into detail because I'm still not very familiar with it. There are so many features on this vehicle. In terms of seat design, they're pretty nice. You have some bolstering here for the thighs and also for the back as well. I like how they integrated the headrest over here. And based on my experience, having sat on them, they're pretty comfortable. The owner of this vehicle actually takes this car on multiple, several 100-mile trips on a almost weekly basis, and he's got no issues whatsoever. He says that it's very, very comfortable, especially with the self-driving. Then you have your footrest over here. Nothing special, no aluminum footrest. You do have some aluminum brake and gas pedal as well. Of course, you have the infamous, very controversial Tesla yoke steering wheel. My experience with it thus far has been, oh my god, I hate it. I'll be honest, maybe it takes some getting used to, but you know, when you're taking very hard turns, it's very hard to find the position of the steering wheel. Sometimes I miss the steering wheel as I'm actually turning it around. You know, the owner of this vehicle has told me that it's actually very, very comfortable for him. He's gotten used to it and he actually loves it. From my perspective, I still don't see that, but of course, you know, like any other vehicle, you need to have long time with something to be able to get used to it. I wouldn't say that it's, you know, immediately comfortable to actually use right away. So aside from being the yoke itself and the shape, I do like the fact that you have multiple controls in a simplified manner on the steering wheel. This got me a little bit confused, but after you get used to it, it's pretty useful, to be honest. Instead of having a stock, if you notice, there are no stalks on this. So you have your turn signals over here. Very, very useful. I believe these are your high beams, but the headlights, I believe, are automatic. That's your horn over there, your cruise control, your wipers, and then some voice controls as well. These, by the way, are used in multiple ways. And depending on what you're trying to do with the vehicle in terms of functionality, this will be used in a different way. So just to give you a quick example, I go into the main menu over here under controls, and let's say I want to raise or lower the steering wheel. I go in this sub menu over here, and let's say I want to modulate the steering wheel. It gives me that, and then I go on the left hand side. That's it. And you have multiple things that you can do, which I'm not going to go into details, but it gives you an idea of what I'm talking about, how these little scrollers over there can actually serve as multiple functionality. Something else that I needed to get used to, and is, of course, it's a large learning curve with Teslas if you're going from a regular vehicle into an internal combustion engine. But one of the things that was new on the 2021 models moving forward is they don't have any more buttons or anything for the gear lever to change your gears. Now you have this over here. I want to move forward, I want to go and drive, and then it shows you right here. So I can just move forward, and as you can see, your gauge cluster basically changes. Now if you want to move back, your rear view camera pops up, things change over here, and now I can move back. I believe on this infotainment screen you have multiple ways that you can modify the home screen, your layout as well, but you do have most of your main menu items over here, like your phone. You have different types of music, your camera, different aspects over here, like a little sub menu as well. This is basically a rolling computer on wheels, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but this is still new to me and probably requires some getting used to, like I said before. I'm not gonna go too deep into the infotainment system just because there's so much. This vehicle is just revolutionary, frankly speaking, and I'm very, very impressed with the way it is and all the functionalities that it has, but it definitely requires a learning curve for people that are not used to it or haven't experienced it. Go into the middle here, you have some extra storage space, some more storage space, and then you can actually, I believe, move this as well to get even more storage space. Very, very cool. You pop out your cup holders over here. You can close this storage over here, and then if you want to put like a clean carbon fiber look, you can have that there as well. This over here are your wireless charging pads, and it's also used to register your key over here, and you also get another key as a Tesla card. But these are basically wireless charging pads as well. Very, very nicely done over here. It's a very clean and minimalistic look. And then you have more storage space in this middle glove compartment over here as well. One cool aspect of this, the closing mechanism, is actually a magnet. It doesn't have any buttons or anything over here, which I really enjoy a lot. Keeps it quite simple, and it goes with the minimalistic design of the Model S. And then we move on along to the passenger side with additional carbon fiber trim, and you have your door panel over there as well. As I mentioned before, the entire roof is a panoramic sunroof over here, and it's all basically open. It gives you a very open feel. I really enjoyed quite a bit, and you don't actually feel the sun at all. I mean, it's very heavily tinted, but you can see over here that it's all open. I really enjoyed that. To the rear, we have these seats over here in a bench format, but like many other EVs, you have practically almost a flat floor, which makes moving around here in the rear much easier. The seat over here in the front is basically but to my height. I'm 6'1", and you can take a look how much space I have. The other really cool thing is now you have basically 3 screens. That middle infotainment screen, you have the gauge cluster, and now in the rear you have a 3rd screen here for the rear passengers. And you can see it gives you multiple options in terms of what you can actually do with it. It can be used for climate, for controls on the seats in terms of seat heating, your music, and viewership entertainment. Apparently, what I'm told is that you can also play video games here on the rear as well. Very cool. Keeps the rear passengers entertained during long drives, if that's the case. So a cool thing here about the armrest in the rear seats of the Model S Plaid, of course you have some carbon fiber trim around the cup holders. You have some additional storage over here, but little secret, these over here are once again wireless charging pads. Really cool feature. Love it. So you have basically all kinds of charging stations or pads for all the passengers inside this vehicle. As I mentioned before, you have an electronic door release. So to get out, you just press this and it'll allow you to get out. It's not a button. In case it doesn't work, I'm not gonna actually release it because Tesla always says to use it in true emergency purposes, because of the fact that when you do actually use a manual release for emergency, it does not bring down the actual window because it is a frameless window. So at the end of the day, it could actually damage the window itself. But you do have an emergency release right there. This over here, you just pull it up. And what I like about it is the fact that it's well integrated into the design of the door panel over here. It doesn't look like a different release or anything. Now to discuss cargo volume. This car is stacked with cargo. I'll show you guys the numbers in terms of the cargo volume, but let's just get this thing showing. So the cargo volume over here is absolutely enormous. Considering it's a sports sedan, I believe that this has more cargo volume than any of its competitors. You have a cargo cover over here that's in Alcantara basically, or microfiber. Once again, they keep using magnets to actually close them up. Very simplistic. You have quite a bit of cargo volume over here. I love the fact that you have a massive opening, super convenient. And then you have additional cargo volume under this panel over here. Look at that. That is so much over there. It's crazy. On top of that, you have another little cargo area over there. Relatively deep for smaller items. And then you have a little extra area over there as well. On top of that, you can also fold down the seats over here. So it doesn't actually bring them down. That's these switches over here basically unlocks them, and then you'd have to push it. But at the end of the day, quite a bit of cargo volume. But hold on, we're not done. We still have more cargo volume in the front, and that's with the frunk. And you have some additional cargo volume over here. Not huge amount, but still quite a bit. Beauty of having an EV. And this Tesla Model S doesn't disappoint in terms of convenience. Now my driving impressions. I didn't get a chance to really spend a lot of time driving this Plaid, but I did get a chance to experience the cheetah mode / launch on the Plaid, and I can tell you guys something. The feeling is completely disorienting. It's not a feeling of motion sickness, it's just disorienting in the sense that you just don't believe how fast the car goes. You've never experienced something that fast in your life before in terms of being in a vehicle. Aside from that, you know, let's just get over that as well. The feeling of the drive is quite well. The single pedal driving or one pedal driving takes quite a bit of getting used to. You know, the few times that I drove this car were troublesome for me because you have to get used to the modulation of the go pedal to know how the car will actually brake itself when you release your foot from the go pedal. Probably will take some time with the vehicle in terms of driving for maybe a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. But I've been told from the owner of this vehicle that once he got used to it, he could never go back. He actually loves it. It's very, very comfortable. You know, he couldn't actually imagine himself trying to do anything else, even though he's got other internal combustion engine vehicles. Sometimes he actually forgets to put his foot on the brake. Regardless of the fact, driving impressions generally are pretty solid. I like the drive of this car, but there are several things that require a learning curve, if I could say, including the single pedal driving and the steering wheel as well. The yoke also gets quite a bit of controversy. I understand why. I tried it out myself. Not the easiest thing to get used to, frankly speaking, but I probably would say that once you probably do get used to it, it could be good. It is a comfortable vehicle to drive. Suspension's pretty firm. Of course, you have air suspension in this. You know, generally speaking, I would say it's probably not like an M5. My brother actually has an M5. I'd say the M5 is a little bit more dynamic than this in the sense of handling. Definitely M5 is not as fast as this. We all know this already. This car, as we know, has a crazy number of under 2 seconds 0 to 60. I've experienced it myself. It's a tri-motor vehicle. It's definitely an experience that all of you have to try out if you ever get the opportunity. So. And just to go over some of the performance engine, there's no engine but motor spec, being an EV. This is the most powerful Tesla Model S. It's got a tri-motor all-wheel drive drivetrain. It's got 1,020 horsepower. 0 to 60 numbers are, as I said before, under 2 seconds, about 1.99 seconds. Got torque vectoring, and apparently the motors are carbon sleeve. Probably think that that's to actually be able to handle the torque that the car produces under heavy acceleration. Yeah, pretty crazy numbers, to be honest. And then you have a range of about 350 miles, I believe, and that's all dependent on the type of wheels that you put on, because of course if you put thinner wheels with thinner tires, then you have a higher efficiency. But this being the Plaid, it's got the wider wheels. I believe you got 295s in the rear and 265s in the front, so this is not going to be as efficient. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick overview of my first ever experience with the fastest production vehicle in the world, the Tesla Model S Plaid. This is a 2022. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. Let me know if you guys have anything else that I didn't mention in the video, and I can probably let you guys know in the comments. Definitely big thanks to the owner of this for allowing me to review this car. And once again, you know, this is my second EV, so it seems like it's gonna be a occurrence moving forward with more car companies coming out with EVs. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.